The two additional new and re-emerging issues that school districts need to be aware of are both lead-based paint and crystalline silica. In addition to the rules and regulations regarding asbestos, school districts also need to be aware of both rules and regulations for crystalline silica and lead-based paint so that that language can be included in contracts. So school districts should be aware of both OSHA regulations and Iowa Department of Public Health guidelines reflecting lead-based paint and crystalline silica so that they can include that type of language in their contracts to afford them liability protection or something along those lines. With regards to lead-based paint, it's particularly important to understand that the rules and regulations apply to things called child-occupied facilities, which do include things like kindergarten or preschool classrooms. With regards to crystalline silica, the new OSHA standards are primarily based for contractors' worker health and protection, but it is important to understand the liability protections involved of making the contractor aware of that crystalline silica may be used in building materials and or components within the building, and then also make sure that they are following the new guidelines and standards by providing a written control exposure plan, and that they also have a competent person on staff to manage those hazards. Lead-based paint is defined as any painted surface or other surface coatings that includes things like shellacs, varnishes, additional glazings or anything like that on ceramics. When we're looking for lead-based paint, we primarily find it in areas like walls, windows, door framing, door components, any type of painted surface. Crystalline silica, similar to asbestos, is another type of respiratory hazard that is also present on renovation and demolition style projects. Recently, OSHA reduced the permissible exposure limits of both crystalline silica and respiratory silica on those types of activities. For crystalline silica, it can be found in things like concrete, brick, ceramics. It can also be part of paint, other building material components like mortar as an ingredient in those types of materials. Recently, Impact 7G conducted some indoor air quality monitoring for crystalline silica on a project that incorporated resurfacing concrete floors. The contractor was aware that they needed to do the monitoring, but wasn't using any type of control methods like wet methods or what's called HEPA vacuuming. Unfortunately, the levels of just doing the operation dry was above OSHA's new permissible exposure limit for crystalline silica. Once he found out the levels were above, he did go and use wet methods and then HEPA vacuuming, and then those results were non-detect. So it's an evidence that those wet methods do work on those type of projects. So this example shows that school districts need to be aware of the hazards posed by crystalline silica and include this type of information and protections in contracts for any type of renovation or demolition project. If school districts have any further questions about lead-based paint, they should contact the Iowa Department of Public Health. If school districts have any questions regarding crystalline silica, they should contact Iowa Occupational Safety and Health.
Again, if you have any questions or concerns, please contact the Iowa Department of Natural Resources Air Quality Bureau.